No one had ever touched her soul. Then a human gave her his heart asterisk. The universe has a cruel sense of humor, Marcus thought, as he watched his ship spiral toward the unknown planet below. Sparks flew from the control panel, and the hull groaned like a dying whale. He gripped the emergency beacon tighter, knowing it would be his only lifeline on whatever world awaited him below. Impact came sudden and violent, throwing him against the restraints until darkness claimed him when consciousness returned. The silence was deafening. No alarms, no crackling flames. Now just the whisper of alien wind through twisted metal. Marcus opened his eyes to find himself staring at a sky painted in shades of amber and rose to moons hung like pearls against it. The strange sun-sith's body ached as he crawled from the wreckage, his engineering uniform torn and bloodied. The air tasted sweet with an undertone of electricity that made his skin tingle. The landscape around him defied logic. Crystalline trees stretched toward the heavens, their translucent branches singing softly in harmonies that touched something deep in his chest. Marcus checked his survival kit, finding water purification tablets, emergency rations, and a basic medical scanner. The readings showed he had suffered a concussion and several lacerations, but nothing immediately life-threatening. He activated his distress beacon, knowing rescue could take weeks or months if it came at ALT. Forest seemed alive in ways Earth forests never, where patterns of light danced beneath the crystal bark of trees and flowers that looked like living jewels swayed without any breeze. Marcus had studied xenobiology, but nothing had prepared him for beauty this profound, this alien yet somehow familiar. Passed as he wandered deeper into the woods, following what might have been a path, or might have been his imagination. The twin moons rose higher, casting everything in silver light that made the crystals sing louder, their melodies interweaving like voices in a choir. He was so entranced by the music that he almost missed. Hirsch stood between two massive crystal trees, as still as a statue carved from moonlight. Her skin held a subtle silver luminescence that pulsed gently like a slow heartbeat. She was tall and graceful, with features that were almost human but refined in ways that spoke of a different evolutionary path. Her hair floated around her shoulders as if suspended in water, and her eyes glowed with soft violet light. Marcus froze his breath, catching in his throat. She was the most beautiful being he had ever seen, but beauty in nature often meant danger. He raised his hands slowly, palms forward, in what he hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "I mean no harm," he said. Softly, though he doubted she understood. English, her head tilted slightly, studying him with those luminous eyes. Her skin began to shift colors, subtle waves of blue and green rippling across her form like aurora lights. Marcus realized this might be how her species communicated, through bioluminescent displays that painted emotions in living colors. Stepped closer, and he caught her scent flowers and ozone with something uniquely her that made his pulse quicken. She reached toward him, then hesitated, her hand hovering inches from his injured forehead. Marcus held perfectly still as she made her decision. Her fingers finally touched his skin. The world exploded in sensation, not pain, but overwhelming warmth that flowed through his entire being. The cuts on his forehead began to tingle, then heal, leaving only smooth skin behind. Her eyes widened in what looked like surprise, and she pulled her hand back quickly. "Thank you, Marcus," whispered, watching as golden light faded from her fingertips. Spoke then, her voice like wind chimes mixed with distant thunder. The words were incomprehensible, but the melody was hauntingly beautiful. Marcus found himself leaning forward, wanting to hear more. When she finished speaking, she turned and began walking away. Panic flared in his chest. "Wait, please," he called, stumbling after her. "I don't know where I am." She paused, looking back at him over her shoulder. The colors in her skin shifted to what might have been contemplation or concern. After a long moment, she gestured for him to follow. Marcus felt relief wash over him as he fell into step behind her. He walked through the singing forest as the moons traced their arc across the alien sky. She moved like liquid starlight, never making a sound while he crashed through the underbrush like the clumsy alien he was. Occasionally, she would look back to make sure he was keeping up, and each time their eyes met, Marcus felt that same electric warmth. Finally, they reached what could only be her home, a natural cave mouth surrounded by the largest crystal formation. He had seen the entire structure hummed with soft harmonics that seemed to welcome him inside. was even more wondrous walls lined with bioluminescent plants that provided gentle light and warmth. She gestured for him to sit on what appeared to be woven moss, then disappeared deeper into the cave, returning with a bowl of clear liquid and strange fruits that glowed faintly from within. Marcus accepted them gratefully, finding the liquid refreshing and the fruit incredibly sweet. As he ate, she sat across from him, watching with those incredible violet eyes. The silence between them was comfortable now, filled with curiosity rather than fear. Marcus pointed to himself. Marcus, he said, clearly tilted her head, then placed her hand on her chest. The lights in her skin pulsed in a complex pattern. Nyx came, her melodic response. Nyx, Marcus repeated and watched as her skin brightened with what he was learning to recognize as pleasure. They sat together in the glowing cave, two beings from different worlds, sharing a moment that would change everything. Neither knowing that this simple exchange of names was the first step toward a love that would challenge everything they thought they knew about themselves and their place in the universe. 3 days had passed since Marcus first spoke Nyx's name, and each day brought new discoveries about the extraordinary being who had saved his life. She communicated through the most beautiful language he had ever encountered, patterns of color that flowed across her silver skin like living paintings, accompanied by musical tones that seemed to reach directly into his soul. Marcus had always been good with languages, but this was unlike anything in human experience. When Nyx was content, her skin glowed with soft gold. When curious violet spirals danced along her arms, sadness brought waves of deep blue that made his chest ache in sympathy. And when she laughed, which happened more frequently now, her entire being sparkled with silver light. You are learning quickly, Nyx said through a combination of gestures and the growing vocabulary of colors and sounds they shared together. Marcus had fashioned a crude translation device from his ship's computer core, but their communication went far deeper than words. You make it beautiful to learn, Marcus replied, his fingers stumbling over the light patterns he was attempting to create with the bioluminescent paint Nyx had given him. His clumsy human attempts at her language made her skin shimmer with amusement, but never mockerish. Rose gracefully and moved to his side, taking his paint-covered hands in her own. Her touch sent familiar electricity through his system, but now it felt natural, welcome rather than startling. Like this, she whispered, guiding his fingers through the proper motions. Steer faces were inches apart as she taught him, and Marcus found himself studying every detail of her features, the way her eyes held flecks of silver that moved like tiny stars, the delicate structure of her cheekbones, the soft curve of her lips that had never touched another's in the human way, but still spoke volumes through their movement. What does this mean? Marcus asked, creating a pattern he had seen her use several times. Nyx's skin immediately flushed with deep rose color, and she pulled back her head, lowering. That means. She paused, searching for words in their shared vocabulary. Heart song between souls, heart song, Marcus repeated softly, watching as the rose color deepened. Is that what we have? Instead of answering with words, Nyx stood and walked to a section of the cave he had not explored before. Behind a curtain of hanging crystal strings lay her most private space. The walls here were covered with what looked like memories frozen in crystal, each one glowing softly with scenes from her life. My people preserve important moments, she explained, touching one crystal that showed a younger version of herself learning to heal. We live long lives and memory fades, but the heart preserves what matters most. Marcus moved closer, studying the beautiful images, her childhood among the singing trees, her training as a healer, moments of joy and sorrow, all captured in living crystal. It's incredible. He breathed, like having your whole life as art. Nyx turned to him, her skin painting itself in nervous patterns. I want to show you something no outsider has ever seen, she whispered. But first you must understand our ways among my people. Physical contact is sacred. We believe that touching another shares part of your life essence with them. Marcus felt his heart rate increase. And you touched me when I was injured? Yes. Nyx's skin glowed with that rose color again. In my culture, this makes us. She struggled for the concept, bonded in way that cannot be undone. Bonded. Marcus stepped closer, drawn by the vulnerability in her luminous eyes. And how do you feel about that? Instead of answering, Nyx reached for a blank crystal from a shelf. With trembling fingers, she pressed it between her palms and closed her eyes. When she opened them, The crystal held a new memory, Marcus stepping from his crashed ship, bloodied but unbroken, their first meeting, her decision to heal him despite the taboos of her people. "This is how I feel," she whispered, offering him the crystal. "You are the first memory I chose to preserve since becoming a healer, the first person whose story I wanted to keep forever." Marcus took the crystal, feeling its warmth pulse against his palm. The weight of her gift settled in his chest, heavier than gravity. "Onyx eye," he began, but she placed a finger gently against his lips. "There is more you must know," she said, her skin cycling through patterns of fear and determination. "My brother Kale returns tomorrow from the outer territories. He serves the council as a guardian, and he will not understand why I have sheltered you. Will he hurt you for helping me?" Nyx's skin went pale silver with worry. Contact with outsiders is forbidden by ancient law. Those who break this law face exile or worse, but Marcus, her color shifted to that deep rose again. "I cannot bring myself to regret saving you or the days we have shared." Marcus set the crystal carefully aside and took a step toward her. "Then we'll face whatever comes together," he said. "I won't let anything happen to you because of me." "You do not understand," Nyx replied, but there was hope flickering in her skin patterns. "You are human, you cannot comprehend what it means to live for centuries knowing you will never feel the heart song with another. My people mate for life. They are fortunate enough to find their match, but I am a healer, sworn to serve all and bond with none." "And now?" Marcus asked, his voice barely a whisper. Nyx closed her eyes, and when she opened them, they blazed with violet fire. "Now I understand why my heart has remained silent for 200 years. She said it was waiting for you, Marcus, reed child of distant earth, who fell from the sky and taught me that souls recognize each other regardless of the flesh that holds them." The cave filled with the music of crystal trees, responding to the emotions flowing between them, and Marcus realized that tomorrow would bring challenges that could tear them apart, but tonight, in this moment, they had something worth fighting for, the beginning of a love that transcended species and worlds. Dawn came too soon, painted in the alien hues of Nyx's world, but bringing with it the sound Marcus had been dreading, footsteps on crystal paths that sang of authority and suspicion. Nyx's skin immediately shifted to patterns of alarm as she moved to the cave entrance. Her brother Kale stood silhouetted against the morning light. Kale was tall like Nyx, but where she moved with gentle grace. He carried himself with military precision. His skin held a permanent pattern of blue and silver that Marcus had learned indicated high rank among the Sci-fiseries. His eyes were the same violet as his sister's, but cold and calculating rather than warm. Sister Kale's voice resonated with harmonic undertones of disapproval. "The outer territories speak of a light that fell from the stars 3 nights past, and now I find you harbor an alien in violation of our most sacred laws." Nyx stepped forward, her skin cycling through rapid defensive patterns. "He was injured, dying. I could not let him perish. When I had the power to heal, you could not." Kale repeated, his skin flashing with anger patterns. "Or you chose not to remember your vows, healer? The council trusted you with powers meant to preserve the sorry life, not to corrupt yourself with alien contact." Marcus moved to stand beside Nyx, feeling her tension like electricity in the air. "She saved my life," he said. "If there's punishment to be given, it should fall on me, not her." Kale's attention shifted to Marcus with predatory focus. "The alien speaks our tongue. Interesting, sister. Have you been teaching him our sacred language as well as our healing arts?" "Communication is not corruption," Nyx replied, but Marcus could see fear creeping into her skin patterns. "He learns quickly because his mind is open and curious, qualities the council once valued, qualities that lead to contamination." Kale stepped closer, his skin displaying patterns of disgust as he studied Marcus. "Can you not see what is happening, Nyx? Your colors betray you. Even now you glow with bonding patterns when you look at this creature." Nyx's skin flushed deep, rose before she could control it, confirming Kale's accusation. The silence that followed felt heavy with implications. Marcus watched the siblings face each other, two beings he was only beginning to understand, caught between love and law. "You have heart sung with an alien." Kale's voice dropped to a whisper of horror. "Sister, do you comprehend what you have done? The council will demand exile or worse when they learn of this." "Then they must not learn," Nyx said quietly, her skin hardening to determined silver. You are my brother Kale. You raised me after our parents passed into crystal dreams. You taught me that compassion was the highest. Virtue, compassion, yes. Kale replied, but not corruption. Nix, this alien has poisoned your judgment made. You forget your duties, your people, your very nature. Marcus felt anger flare hot in his chest. I haven't poisoned anything, he said, stepping forward. What we have is beautiful, pure. It's love, Kale. Real love that crosses every boundary your people have created. The words hung in the crystal air between them, loaded with challenge. Kale's skin went deadly pale, then erupted in patterns of rage. Love, he spat. You speak of love, alien, when you have stolen my sister's essence, corrupted her with your alien thoughts and emotions. No one has corrupted me, Nix, said her voice ringing with new strength. Marcus has shown me that the heart recognizes truth regardless of form or origin. My healing powers have grown stronger since knowing him, not weaker. Impossible. Kale's skin cycled through disbelief. Alien contact weakens our life force. It has been proven across millennia. Nix extended her hand and touched a withered crystal plant near the cave entrance. Under her influence, it burst into bloom, more vibrant than Marcus had ever seen her healing abilities. Does this look weakened to you, brother? Kale stared at the transformed plant, his skin pattern shifting to confusion. This changes nothing, he said finally. The law exists for good reason. Contact with aliens has brought nothing but disaster to other worlds. We will not allow it to happen here, and if I refuse to give him up, Nix asked, her skin blazing with defiant gold, then you leave me no choice. Kale replied sadly, I will report this to the council and let them decide your fate. But Nix, please see reason, end this madness before it destroys you, the only madness. Nix said, taking Marcus's hand in full view of her brother, is believing that love can be wrong simply because it is unexpected. Kale watched their joined hands with horror, then his skin shifted to grim determination. So be it, sister, you have chosen your path. He turned to leave, then paused. You have until sunset to decide whether you will come willingly before the council or be dragged before them by force. Either way, this ends tonight. As Kale's footsteps faded into the crystal singing forest, Nix's skin went pale with fear. He will keep his word, she whispered. The council guards will come at sunset. Marcus squeezed her hand, feeling the tremor in her fingers. Then we run, he said simply. I won't let them take you. Run where? Nix asked, despair creeping into her voice. This is my world, Marcus. There is nowhere they cannot find us. Then we make somewhere. Marcus replied, his mind already working on the problem. You know this world better than anyone. There must be places even the council fears to go. Nix was quiet for a long moment, her skin shifting through contemplative patterns. When she finally spoke, her voice held new resolve. There is one place, she said, the Heart Grove, where the first the Sari learned to heal it. Is sacred ground where even the council cannot follow. But Marcus, the journey is dangerous, and if we are caught together, the punishment will be severe. Marcus brought her hand to his lips, pressing a gentle kiss to her silver skin. Then we better not get caught, he said, watching as her skin bloomed with surprised pleasure at the unfamiliar human gesture. You would risk everything for me, she whispered. Even though we have known each other only days or years, what difference does it make? Marcus replied, love doesn't follow schedules, Nix, and what we have is worth any risk. Her skin sang with patterns of joy and terror intermingled. Then we go to the Heart Grove, she said together. As they gathered supplies for their journey, Marcus realized they were crossing a line from which there might be no return. But looking at Nix's determined face painted in colors of love and courage, he knew he would follow her anywhere, even into the unknown dangers of a sacred grove that might hold their salvation or their doom. The Heart Grove lay 3 days' journey through the most treacherous parts of Nix's world, where crystal formations grew so thick they formed maze-like passages that could trap travelers for weeks. Marcus and Nix moved through the singing wilderness like fugitives, which in many ways they had become. Behind them, Kale's tracking party followed their trail, marked by the subtle disruptions. Marcus's human passage left, in the responsive crystal ecosystem ahead lay the grove that might offer sanctuary or become their final resting place. Nix had explained that the ancient trees there were more than plants. They were repositories of the Sari history and legend, beings of immense power who did not welcome intruders. Are you certain they will protect Us, Marcus asked as they navigated a particularly narrow passage between towering crystal spires. Nyx's skin showed patterns of uncertainty mixed with hope. I am certain of nothing, she replied. The heart trees are older than our civilization. They remember when the Sari first learned to heal, but they also remember the great corruptions that came from outside. Contact. The irony was not lost on either of them that they sought refuge from accusations of contamination in a place that might view their love as the very thing it was created to prevent, but options had become limited and love made. Its own logic that transcended Koshana on the second night as they sheltered in a cave lit by bioluminescent moss. Nyx told Marcus about the Heart Grove's creation when my people first developed healing abilities. She said, her skin painting soft historical patterns. Some began to believe they could heal anything, including the fundamental differences between species. They tried to merge the Sari essence with alien visitors. What happened?
I guess.
Marcus asked, though he could guess from the sadness in her voice. The results were catastrophic, Nyx continued. Neither fully the Sari nor fully alien, the merged beings went mad from conflicted consciousness. They had to be put out of their misery, and the council decreed that alien contact would forever be forbidden. Marcus absorbed this information, feeling the weight of history pressing down on their love. And you think the heart trees will see us as another version of that mistake, I think, Nyx said, moving closer to him in the moss-lit cave. That the heart trees will see what we really are to souls who found each other across the darkness between worlds. But Marcus, you must understand, if they reject us, there will be nowhere else to go that night. They held each other as they slept, Marcus marveling at how perfectly Nyx fit against him despite their physical differences. Her skin glowed softly in patterns he was learning meant contentment and deep affection. He dreamed of Earth and wondered if he would ever see his homeworld again. But when he woke to find Nyx watching him with those luminous violet eyes, he knew he had already found home in her arms. Third day brought them to the edge of the Heart Grove, and Marcus understood immediately why this place was considered sacred. The trees here were massive beyond comprehension, their crystal trunks wider than buildings, stretching up until their crowns disappeared in morning mist. Each one pulsed with life and ancient wisdom that made the air itself feel heavy with presence. We go together, Nyx said, taking Marcus's hand as they approached the grove entrance. Whatever the trees decide, they will decide for both of us. They walked hand in hand between the giants, feeling like insects in a cathedral of living crystal. The trees' harmonics were unlike anything Marcus had heard, deeper, more complex, filled with memories of ages past and futures yet to come. Gradually, the sound resolved into something approaching communication. Who brings alien flesh to sacred ground? The voice came from all around them, carried on harmonics that resonated in Marcus's bones. Nyx stepped forward, her skin blazing with respectful patterns. I am Nyx, daughter of crystal dreams, healer of the southern territories. I bring one who has heart sung with me. Heart sung. The tree's voice held notes of curiosity and concern. Show us this song, child of Thesser, without hesitation. Nyx placed her hand on Marcus's chest over his heart. Immediately her skin erupted in the most beautiful display Marcus had ever seen. Patterns of their entire relationship flowing in living light, their first meeting, the healing, the growing understanding, and beneath it all, the deep, abiding love that had grown between them. The trees went silent for so long Marcus began to fear they had been rejected. Then, slowly, the ancient voices spoke again. This is not corruption as the council fears, nor is it the madness of forced merging. This is rarity beyond measure, true heart song across species boundaries. Hope flared in Nyx's skin patterns. Then you will protect us. Protection is not what you need, child, the trees replied. What you need is choice. For heart song of this nature requires sacrifice from both souls. Are you prepared for what true bonding means? Marcus felt Nyx's hand tighten in his what kind of sacrifice? To truly join across species lines, you must each give up part of what you are. The trees explained. Human, you must accept the Sari healing essence into your body, changing you forever. The Sari, you must accept human emotional openness, altering your nature. Permanently together you become something new, neither fully what you were but both, gaining what you lack. Marcus looked at Nyx, seeing his own answer reflected in her glowing eyes. What are the risks? Failure means death for both the trees. said simply, success means exile from both your peoples. You will belong fully neither to Earth nor Thesser, but only to each other. The grove fell silent, except for the distant harmonics of crystal wind. Marcus thought of his old life. His career as an engineer, his plans and ambitions, all of it seemed distant and unimportant compared to the woman beside him whose skin painted hopeful, fearful patterns in the sacred light. I choose her, Marcus said, his voice carrying clearly through the grove. Whatever the cost, I choose. Nyx's skin exploded in patterns of joy and terror. I choose him. She whispered, I choose love over law, heart over tradition. Then step forward, both the trees commanded, and let your choice remake you. Hand in hand, they walked toward the largest heart tree, its trunk opening to reveal a chamber filled with swirling energy that looked like liquid starlight. Marcus had no idea what would emerge from this transformation, but he knew with absolute certainty that facing it with Nyx was the only choice his heart would allow him to make. The chamber within the heart tree felt like standing inside a star. Energy swirled around Marcus and Nyx in patterns of silver and gold that seemed to respond to their heartbeats, which had somehow synchronized during their time together. Nyx's hand in his was the only solid thing in a world that had become pure transformation. Do not fight the change. The ancient voices whispered, let your souls find their new harmony. The energy touched Marcus first, a warm tingling that started in his chest and spread outward. He felt his cellular structure shifting, not painfully, but profoundly, as the Sari healing abilities merged with his human physiology. His vision sharpened until he could see the individual photons dancing in Nyx's luminescent skin. His hearing expanded to catch harmonics he had never known existed. Nyx gasped beside him as human emotional depth flooded her consciousness, her careful Thesari control over feelings dissolved, replaced by the full spectrum of human passion. Love deeper than oceans, fear sharper than crystal edges, joy bright enough to power stars, and underneath it all, an unshakable connection to Marcus that felt like coming home after a lifetime of wandering. I can feel everything you feel, Nyx whispered, her voice now carrying harmonic undertones that resonated in Marcus's chest. And I can see your thoughts in patterns of light, Marcus replied, watching as his words painted themselves across Nyx's skin in colors that matched his emotions. We're still us, but more than we were. The transformation deepened. Their memories began to interweave. Alcas saw Nyx's childhood among the singing trees, felt her dedication to healing her loneliness among her own people who lived such controlled, emotional lives. Nyx experienced Marcus's human passion, his drive to explore and understand the universe, his willingness to risk everything for love. The bonding is complete, the heart trees announced, their ancient voices carrying notes of approval. You are the first successful cross-species heart song in 10,000 years, but the choice you made carries consequences. As the energy chamber faded around them, Marcus and Nyx found themselves back in the grove, but changed. Marcus's skin now held a subtle luminescence that reflected his emotions, while Nyx's rigid emotional control had been placed by beautifully expressive features that showed every feeling. What consequences? Nyx asked, though Marcus could feel through their bond that she already suspected. You can never return to your separate peoples. The trees explained, thus Ari will see the human changes in you, healer, and humans will not understand the alien modifications in their lost explorer. You belong now only to each other and to the few worlds that accept such bondings. Marcus felt a moment of loss for his old life, but it was overwhelmed by the completeness he now felt with Nyx beside him, literally a part of him. Where can we go? There are sanctuary worlds. The trees replied, places where those who choose love over convention can build new lives together. But first you must face the choice your peoples will make about your transformation. Even as they spoke, the sound of approaching voices through the grove, Kale and his tracking party had found them their time of sanctuary. Zending, Marcus squeezed Nyx's hand, feeling her determination match his own through their bond. Whatever happens, we face it together, he said. Together, Nyx agreed, her skin painting patterns of fierce love and unwavering commitment. Tail emerged from the trees first, his expression cycling from anger to shock as he took in the changes in his sister. Nyx, what have you done? He whispered. You are no longer fully the Sari. No, Nyx replied, with new confidence born of human emotional depth. I am something better. I am complete. The council guards who followed Kale drew weapons at the sight of the transformed pair, but the heart tree's harmonics grew, warning deep, making it clear that violence would not be tolerated in the sacred grove. The law has been broken. Kale said, his skin showing patterns of grief and duty and conflict. You must both face judgment, then we will face it, Marcus replied, feeling Nyx's courage strengthen his own. But we will not apologize for choosing love. The standoff stretched, taut with tension, until one of the council guards stepped forward, an elderly Thesari whose skin showed patterns of wisdom and age guardian. Kale, she said, these two have been transformed by the heart trees themselves, perhaps. The council should hear what the ancients have decided before we act in haste. Kale looked between his changed sister and the sacred trees that still hummed. With transformative energy, slowly, his skin shifted to reluctant acceptance. Very well, he said, but you will both come before the full council and human when they decree your exile, remember? That you chose this path, I will remember, Marcus replied, and I will never regret it. As they were escorted from the grove, Marcus felt the incredible rightness of his choice through his bond with Nyx. He experienced her own certainty that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them as one soul, in two bodies forever changed by a love that had proven stronger than law, tradition, or the vast emptiness. Was just beginning an epic of love that would inspire other star-crossed souls to believe that hearts recognize truth, regardless of the form that holds them, and that's sometimes the greatest. Adventures begin not with exploration of outer space, but with the courage to explore the infinite universe within another's hearth. Singing crystal forests carried their story onward through harmonics and light a tale of the human who fell from the stars and the healer who chose love over everything else. She had ever known proof that in a universe full of darkness, the light of two souls united could illuminate paths that had never been walked before.